Hi, my name is Nunziata, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and I'm also a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with the rising queer pop star, WEAUX, fresh off the release of his debut album, Woe Is Me. For more on WEAUX, you can read more about him right below this video, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek at the amazing talent of WEAUX.
Going on airplane mode. I said I won't be picking up my phone. It's gonna go straight to voicemail. Cause my time is not for sale. And you can go to hell. And I'll be flying so high without you. If it was a one night stand, why'd you have to hold my hand? Pull me in like quicksand, guess I gotta use my wingspan. Oh.
Well, hello, WEAUX, how are you?
Hey, Will, what's going on? You look great.
I'm so excited to be here with you. Well, the audience just got a little sneak peek of your original song, Airplane Mode, off of your debut album. And before we get into all of that, I want to know, where are you coming from today?
I'm at my apartment in Brooklyn. I just moved here end of January, so I've only been here 3 months. And then I was in Houston before this, so that's where I'm from.
That's awesome. So you were born and raised in Houston?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I
Yes,
love it.
indeed.
How long have you been in the city for?
Well, I came up here, I studied theater at Fordham University, starting in 2016. So it's been about like 5 years since I've been mostly up here, but I've gone back and forth quite a bit, and I studied abroad in London for a few months. So I've been traveling around, as
I
you
love
do.
that. Well, I love that. And people can obviously learn more about you, read the bio below the video, and look at all of the amazing videos and music that you have on all of the platforms. But what I find so fascinating and so inspiring about you and your journey is that you took a very dark moment in your life and you made a choice to look for the light. And with you looking for the light, you created a personality that is above and beyond maybe just the singular you to put out good. And I want to know what that was about in creating WEAUX.
Wow. Well, thank you. You just like summed up everything that I do. So,
Well, look at
um,
it transcends. So I just wanted to be
thank
honest.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, in 2018, I had like my first major heartbreak, and there was just a lot of really disturbing stuff that happened to me with the end of that relationship. And I had just started coming out. It was all still very precarious for me. Like, I didn't really know who was supporting me, who wasn't. And like, I didn't feel comfortable at that time, like telling that story because I wanted people to see me coming out as like a good thing, but there was also this like whole tragedy that happened at the same time to me.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to reconcile those two things at the same time. And so I kind of channeled that into writing these songs, which became the album. And like that's really when I started developing this persona, which you said it perfectly, of WEAUX, as like this idealized version of myself who can like face these things that have happened to me. And I just really love things that are inspirational and like positive and empowering, and I always want to do really deep stuff, but I never want to bring people down. Like, I always want people to feel empowered when they listen to my music or they watch my shows, because that's just how I am. Like, I'm just like a naturally like up positive energy person. So that's
Well,
also part of. Oh, sorry, what?
no, you keep
Oh
going.
yeah. That's also part of why this album was so hard for me, because it was like when I first started working on it, it was just like not quite there. And if it wasn't just quite perfect, then it wasn't like that balance of like empowering but also deep at the same time. So it took me like 3 years to get everything how I wanted. Obviously, there was like a bunch of other stuff happening at the same time. Like, I was in acting school, and I did other shows and worked on other projects and stuff. But when quarantine and coronavirus happened last year, I ended up like suddenly moving back from New York to Houston and like living with my family again. And it was like this huge, just 180 turn in my life, as I'm sure a bunch of other people experienced. But I realized like during that time of like not having a job, not having really anything, that this was a time for me to record this album, which is like my passion project that I've been wanting to put out there for so long. So I had all this time and I just like got to work, like got on Zoom with, my voice teacher and like all these people who could help me out and figure out how to get it to where I wanted it. So that was like my 2020.
I love that. Wow. Well, listen, 2020 was obviously a time for everyone. It was an opportunity for all of us to look within, to really kind of investigate the superfluous, to really look for the crux of what we really want in our bliss. And
Yeah,
the fact that you were able to use the time to really go after in putting this message out. I mean, that's how I kind of look at your persona as it's an embodiment and a manifestation of all of your studies in the theater, in
thanks.
acting, in
Yeah,
singing, but it also embodies a spiritual and inspirational entertainment. It's digestible. And frankly, I know that you consider yourself a rising queer pop star, but forget the rising, you know? But what I
well, thank
also, but what I really also love, Woe, is the fact that I'm thinking about 11-year-old woes out there
you.
who felt like they never had someone to look up to, or they might
Exactly.
not have a family that supports them, or they
Yeah,
might think that they're the only ones at the end of the lunch table who is going through what they're going through, and they're going to listen to your album and meet you through your work, and they're not going to feel so alone. Like, how cool is that? And I'm sure that's something you think about,
oh
no?
my goodness. Yeah, no, I'm laughing so that you don't make me cry.
No,
That was beautiful. Yes.
but this is
Yeah,
but this is also personal for me, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
being a young kid, I didn't have many idols growing up who
yeah,
were in the arts and also were out.
yeah.
And the fact that you make the choice, because it's a hard choice at times, but that you were at
Yeah.
a crossroads and you made the choice to choose the light and the positivity.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. That was definitely something I experienced growing up. Like I have so many idols. Like I absolutely adored like Michael Jackson and
My
Prince
first
especially. I'm super 80s. I should have been born
impression,
like
my
in the 80s.
first time
It's
you
okay.
And
I was, so
was that
you're welcome.
perfection.
and Stevie Wonder and like current artists. I love like Beyonce and Lady Gaga and there's so many great artists out there. But for me, like I never felt like I completely lined up with any of them in terms of like them representing me and like my life experience. Very specifically on the sexuality side, um, we have like a lot more like openly out people now.
Yes.
But it's still kind of rare, and I feel like a lot of pop music and entertainment is still very much like heterocentric,
Yes.
just in terms of the lyrics and like the personas that people put on and the portrayal of like masculine and feminine energies, that kind of stuff. Like gay music or queer music is kind of like its own little niche where you have like drag artists and like all of this stuff over here, but to me it's not really considered like part of the respected mainstream. And like I want to put stuff out there that like crushes everyone else and just like says this is like the legit thing. Like
Well,
queer music is just the thing.
what I really like about all of your songs, well, is the fact that if people were to just honestly look at the lyrics, it transcends sexuality. It
Yeah.
transcends age and race and creed, and it's about the human condition. And so what you're doing in a show don't tell way, you're not preaching, you're just being like many of the artists that you mentioned who are inspirations for you. You are being like them, unapologetically authentic.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I definitely try to go for that like poetic sort of universal feel with my songs, and I also try to go for kind of like a story, like an emotional arc with every song. Every song kind of has that like journey to it,
Well,
but
I
also
was
the
going to
album
mention
itself
that
has that journey.
each song for me is like a little playlet. And as a theater director, right,
Yeah.
that's what I noticed. But if you actually look at the album, it's almost like these little playlets
Yep.
within a theatrical piece.
Yep.
They can live separately,
Yeah.
but they also work within a narrative.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what we did with Woe Is Me Live. So last year, like in June, I kind of realized like, oh, I can make this a show. So then I like wrote speeches in between the songs that told this like the actual story underneath like the songs, because the songs are, like you said, they're more poetic and like you can listen to it and not know exactly what happened. And I wanted people to know exactly what happened. So I wrote it last year in June. I just sat on it because I was like, I don't know what to do with this right now. Like, this doesn't work on Zoom, and like, I need a camera person, I need all this stuff, and like, it'll happen when it's ready. And then this year, I got my friends at Emotion Productions, they're a new multimedia company, to help me out with it. And so my director Alex like came over to our apartment. I mean, this was all possible kind of because of like, you know, the new, you know, loosening gradually of COVID. Like, you know, they were able to come over and like wear masks and be in my room and like do the camera work and all this tech stuff. So that was a really special experience for me to like actually just tell the legit personal story
Yeah.
behind everything. Um, and I just feel really just like empowered and like open, especially now that like I did that, and now that like this album is out, it's just like I'm owning it. Like it happened, and I just feel like ready to kind of, you know, say goodbye to that like part of my life in a way. Like I don't have to be like caught up on stuff that happened 3 years ago
Oh,
anymore,
yeah.
now that I've like put it out there, you know?
And I'm sure it's not only been a therapeutic experience for you, but again, like you're saying, is you are taking control of the narrative, literally and figuratively. And what I love so much too, well, when you're coming on board FENIX, is this whole notion that you're going to not only be able to connect with fans, you know, not only in this country, but around the world, but potential collaborations with people all over the world. Because again,
Yes.
I know I mentioned it a lot with a lot of artists, but these are the artists that are coming on board that I'm so excited about, is the fact that you have a transcendent story and you have a transcendent music and lyric, and you know, you have this unapologetic, authentic, no one else is like you. You know,
Thank
what
you.
did Judy Garland say? It's better to be a first-rate version of yourself than a second-rate version of someone else. And
Oh, yes.
you are definitely that first-rate version. So I'm so excited you're coming on board. And you know, I could talk to you forever. I know we talked in the pre-interview that we both could talk forever. I'm so fascinated with you and what you have coming up. And I want everyone to please continue to follow you. Again, well, all of his information is right below this video. And I'm so grateful, Will, for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Yes, thank you, FENIX.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.